Did you know that more people have died going over Niagara Falls than summiting Mount Everest? From a distance, Niagara Falls is a masterpiece of nature, powerful, majestic, and endlessly mesmerizing. Tourists from around the world gather to witness its roaring descent, feel the mist on their skin, and snap photos of a place that seems frozen in time and wonder. But behind the postcard-perfect scenery lies a darker truth. Niagara is not just a backdrop for honeymooners and thrill-seekers. It's also been the final chapter for countless lives. Some came chasing fame, others seeking peace, and a few never intended to fall at all. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on 3 stories of the most tragic deaths ever recorded at Niagara Falls. These are not just stories of missteps or bad luck. They're deeply human tales of ambition, desperation, and fatal misjudgment. On October 20th, 2003, Kirk Jones, a 40-year-old man from Michigan, shocked the world by becoming the first known person to survive a plunge over Horseshoe Falls without any protective gear. Jones wasn't a trained stuntman or extreme athlete, just an ordinary man who decided to take an extraordinary risk. On that chilly autumn morning, he jumped from the Canadian side of the Niagara River, falling nearly 180 feet into the turbulent waters below. Miraculously, Jones survived the fall with only minor injuries, a few bruises and scrapes. Witnesses said they were stunned to see him emerge from the water alive, seemingly unharmed given the deadly height. At first, Jones claimed the jump was a suicide attempt, but as the story unfolded, he admitted his true motive, a desperate bid for fame and fortune. He hoped the stunt would catapult him into the spotlight and open doors for a new career as a daredevil or performer. His gamble did bring him attention, but not quite the way he'd imagined. Canadian authorities fined Jones $3,000 for the illegal stunt and banned him from entering Canada indefinitely. The legal consequences were just the beginning. Later, Jones did manage to sign a short-term contract with a traveling circus, performing his act and sharing his story with audiences eager for thrills. However, the novelty soon wore off, and his fame faded as quickly as it had appeared. Despite his survival against the odds, the jump didn't transform Jones's life in any lasting way. He remained far from the celebrity he had dreamed of becoming. Yet, this near-death experience seemed to fuel something deeper inside him, a feeling of invincibility, or perhaps a need to prove himself once more. Little did the world know, Jones was preparing for a second, even riskier attempt. 14 years after his first miraculous survival, Kirk Jones returned to Niagara Falls, determined to rewrite his legacy. But this time, the stakes were higher and the risks even more extreme. By April 2017, Jones was 53 years old, but his appetite for danger hadn't diminished. Rather than jumping unprotected like before, he planned to ride down the falls inside a massive inflatable ball, a 10-foot sphere designed to cushion the plunge. Jones wasn't going alone. He brought along his pet boa constrictor, Misty, a 7-foot snake that had become a part of his public persona. This wasn't just a stunt anymore. It was a spectacle, a performance to capture public attention. To build hype, Jones launched a website promoting the event, selling t-shirts and signed photos with the slogan, "Believe in the Impossible." Kirk Jones plus Misty conquer Niagara Falls, New York 2017. The plan was audacious. If he survived, it would be an even more unbelievable feat than his first jump. If not, well, the risk was understood. On April 19th, 2017, tourists on the Niagara River noticed a large, bright orange inflatable ball drifting dangerously close to the edge of the falls. But there was something unusual. The zipper hatch on the ball was open, flapping in the wind. Witnesses watched in disbelief as the ball floated over the edge and disappeared into the mist. Rescue teams later retrieved the ball downstream, but it was empty. What happened to Kirk Jones? Nearby, Jones's drone, meant to capture aerial footage of the jump, was found crashed on rocks near the falls. The video it recorded showed only rushing water, giving no clues about the moment of the jump or what might have gone wrong. For weeks, there was no sign of Jones. Nearly 7 weeks later, on June 2nd, 2017, a grim discovery was made. Jones's body was found 12 miles downstream from the falls, near where the Niagara River empties into Lake Ontario. The snake, Misty, was never found. Experts agreed that the cold, turbulent water would have been fatal for the reptile within minutes. The discovery confirmed the worst fears. Kurt Jones had died during his second attempt. The circumstances surrounding Jones's death remain a mystery. Authorities and experts have pieced together several possible scenarios, but no definitive answers exist. Whatever the truth, the open zipper and empty ball paint a picture of chaos, panic, and tragedy, far from the carefully controlled stunt Jones had envisioned. Kurt Jones's second attempt at Niagara Falls was a fatal gamble, a tragic contrast to the near-miraculous survival of 2003. Where his first jump was reckless but ultimately victorious, the second was doomed from the start. A reminder that even the most daring acts can have unforgiving consequences. Jones's death sparked debates about the ethics and safety of such stunts, especially involving animals. It also served as a stark warning about the dangers of chasing fame and pushing limits beyond reason. Kurt Jones's story is a powerful reminder of how complex human psychology can be when faced with life-altering experiences. After surviving the first jump in 2003, an act so dangerous that most would never dare try, Jones may have developed a profound sense of invincibility. That near-death experience likely created an illusion that he was somehow protected from harm, fueling a dangerous confidence. But beyond survival, it seems Jones was chasing something deeper: recognition and legacy. His decision to bring Misty, a 7-foot boa constrictor, on his 2017 attempt, and to aggressively market the stunt with a website and merchandise, speaks volumes about his desire for public attention. This wasn't just about conquering Niagara Falls. It was about proving himself, about spectacle, and about being remembered. In the end, surviving once is no guarantee of survival again. And sometimes, the bravest act is knowing when not to try. It was a clear July morning in 1930 when George Stasis set out to pursue his dream. At 46, this Greek immigrant living in Buffalo, New York, was not like most people. He held bold beliefs about life and what comes after, convinced he could share them with the world. To capture attention, George planned an extraordinary feat, surviving a trip over Niagara Falls inside a custom-made barrel. Months of preparation went into his plan. He crafted a massive barrel from oak, reinforced with steel, weighing nearly 2,000 pounds. Measuring 10 feet long and 5 feet wide, the barrel was built to endure the tremendous force of the falls. Inside, George included oxygen tanks and supplies to ensure his survival. Confident in his creation, he believed this daring stunt would bring him fame and a platform to spread his ideas. George wasn't alone. Alongside him was Sonny Boy, his pet turtle said to be over 150 years old. Bringing Sonny Boy symbolized George's faith in his plan and added a personal touch to the risky adventure. As the lid was sealed tight, the muffled roar of the falls echoed inside, along with the creaking of the wood under pressure. The barrel was pushed into the river, drifting toward the edge. Spectators watched as it plunged over the falls, swallowed by mist and crashing water. Amazingly, the barrel survived the 167-foot drop and floated up intact at the base. For a moment, it seemed George's plan had succeeded, but trouble soon followed. Red Hill Sr., a local daredevil and expert on the falls, had warned George about the risks tied to the size and weight of his barrel. At over 2,000 pounds, it was much heavier than those used in other successful attempts. Hill cautioned that the barrel might get trapped in the unpredictable currents at the base of the falls. Unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. Instead of drifting downstream, the barrel became caught in the powerful currents behind the falls. It spun and rocked violently, making it impossible for rescuers to reach. Inside, George faced a grim reality. The dark, cramped space was suffocating, while the deafening roar of the falls drowned out all other sounds. His oxygen supply, designed to last about 8 hours, was running dangerously low. Rescue efforts were relentless, but the raging water made it nearly impossible to reach the barrel. After more than 22 hours, they finally managed to free it. When the barrel was opened, the outcome was heartbreaking. George had suffocated long before help arrived. The very design meant to protect him had trapped him instead. In a cruel twist of fate, George's own creation became his prison. The heavy, reinforced barrel that was carefully built to guarantee his survival ultimately sealed his tragic fate instead. Despite the heartbreak surrounding his loss, there remained a glimmer of hope. Sonny Boy, George's beloved turtle, survived the entire ordeal completely unharmed. This little turtle went on to become a symbol of resilience and endurance, later featured in children's books and news reports. Sonny Boy's unexpected fame brought a small, bittersweet echo of the recognition George had long sought for himself. Today, George's barrel is proudly displayed at Niagara Falls, serving as a solemn reminder of the dangers involved in challenging the power of nature and the high cost that can come with daring dreams. His story continues to live on, not only as a cautionary tale warning others, but also as a testament to human ambition and the unpredictable ways it can unfold. It was October 28, 2024, at Niagara Falls. The autumn air was crisp, and darkness had settled over the roaring waters. Around 9 p.m., 33-year-old Cantai Mean stood on Luna Island with her 2 children, 9-year-old Roman Rossman and her 5-month-old baby Mecca Means. What started as an ordinary evening would soon turn into one of the most heartbreaking tragedies in recent Niagara history. Cantai, a resident of Niagara Falls, New York, was known in her community as a domestic violence counselor. According to her LinkedIn profile, she had graduated from a school in nearby Buffalo and dedicated her career to helping people escape dangerous situations. Friends describe her as a devoted mother who adored her children, especially baby Mecca, who had been born just 5 months earlier. Yet beneath her caring nature, Cantai was quietly battling personal struggles. Her cousin, Vieira Hamilton, would later reveal that Cantai had been suffering from postpartum depression, a condition that affects approximately 15% of new mothers. It's important to understand that postpartum depression is very real and requires treatment. Hamilton told reporters, "My cousin was silently fighting depression alone." In the weeks leading up to that fateful night, Cantai had posted troubling messages on social media under the name Diamond Scott. One post read, "I wish someone would love me because the man that supposed does not." Another stated, "Everyone, please leave me alone. I'm in love with my daughter's father. I want my family back." Facebook posts also showed that Cantai and Mecca's father had ended their relationship in late August, which added to her emotional distress. That night on Luna Island, a small piece of land situated between the American Falls and Bridal Veil Falls, Cantai made a devastating decision. Surveillance footage later reviewed by investigators showed her approaching the safety guardrail, which stood approximately 3 feet high. In her arms, Cantai carried baby Mecca, while Roman walked beside her. In one swift, fluid motion, she climbed over a protective barrier with both children. Within seconds, all 3 were swept away by the powerful current. The Niagara River, which flows at an astonishing rate of 750,000 gallons per second, carried them toward the edge of the falls. Moments later, they plunged over the 167-foot drop into the turbulent waters below. New York State Park Police responded immediately after receiving reports from horrified witnesses. Search and rescue teams were quickly deployed, including the New York Marine Patrol, aviation, and underwater recovery units. State police also used unmanned aircraft systems to scan the rough waters, but the strong currents made recovery efforts nearly impossible. State troopers announced in a press release that the investigation determined the incident to be intentional in nature, though the full circumstances remain under investigation. Despite exhaustive search operations, the bodies of Cantai and her children were never found, likely carried far downstream by the relentless current. Friends and family were left devastated by the tragedy. "I have been speechless and crying and couldn't sleep at all," wrote friend Connor Moraine on Facebook. "My heart is broken. Mental health is no joke." Another friend, Mish Molina, shared, "I am literally sick to my stomach. I can't even deal with the emotions I am feeling. Just know her and her children are dearly loved by me and my children." Kyandi's cousin remembered her as someone with a beautiful soul who loved her children and family deeply. She added, "She was so full of life and wisdom. She and her kids will be missed so much." The deaths of Cantai, Roman, and Mecca add to the estimated 5,000 fatalities that have occurred at Niagara Falls since record began in the 1850s. Their story stands as a heartbreaking reminder of the hidden struggles many endure and the devastating consequences when mental health crises go unaddressed. The heartbreaking stories from Niagara Falls remind us not only of nature's overwhelming power, but also the hidden struggles within people, the pain and silent battles that often remain unseen. Hearing about these tragic losses, we believe we cannot help but feel deeply moved and reflect on the true value of life. Life is more fragile than we realize, and mental health is something we must never overlook. We never truly know what those around us are going through, so we should never hesitate to offer our care, listen, and support when needed. These stories serve as a powerful reminder that only through empathy and connection can we help each other overcome the toughest moments. We feel profound sorrow for lives lost too soon, for dreams left unfinished, and for families shattered by grief. Their stories are a wake-up call to cherish every moment, to speak up and listen more, so that such tragedies might be prevented in the future. What are your thoughts on these stories? How can we come together to support one another through mental health struggles and safety challenges in life? Please share your reflections below.